Hello and welcome to this best of three series between Chimbambu and BigBees, or Hella Fantastic in-game. Be sure to like and subscribe for more games, and let's get into it. So, this is again round 1 inside of Warhammer League 3, and we have a Greenskins versus Beastmen today. So, both of these players are, let's say first an introduction. Chimbambu you already know. He has been in the first rounds of the previous two tournaments, but sadly has not made it, at least so far, out of the first round. And when it comes to our new player here, BigBees, he is a long-time player that just took a quite a big break, and then he has just come back and has absolutely swept people inside of the tournament scene. So definitely invite worthy to come into the league. Let's see how he performs in a more high pressure environment. So when it comes to the army of Chimbambu, we have the Beastmen, we have the Doom Bull here. He's just a great fighter. He has the dazed ability, basically making it so that he can even fight better SCs even more, especially for hunting down something that is on the Greenskins roster. Let's say the Swamp Things, or let's say a big SC unit or something like a Grom, right? Which is probably okay in this matchup. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe just the little goblin guy. Other than this, we got just a bunch of Gore Herd, a bunch of Spearmen, and a couple of Slangors. So he is going for a standard. I'm gonna walk at you, and then we will fight kind of army. Interesting to see that there are no raiders, no Ungor raiders in this army, because they just have such high DPS output. Even though they can be easily shut down, you kind of with Beastmen probably have the mobility advantage usually, so it does make sense to kind of bring at least a few. And outside of this, we have the Butchers of Kalkengard. Butchers of Kalkengard, an absolute Terminator unit, especially when, oh my god, look at the skeleton on the on the shield, man. I never zoomed in so much to see it. So these guys are insane fighters. They just have blood greed. They also have regen. So that means that when they actually fight, they will just get bonus stats, and a lot of those bonus stats. Also, whenever they rout, they usually retain a bunch of their models, and basically that makes it so that they can come back and be the terror causing unit, especially into a faction like the Greenskins, and be an absolute menace. So when it comes to this, why is it so janky when I reload? Interesting. 1 second, and I'm sorry about this, because I just tested this before this. Yeah, here now it's a bit smoother. So when it comes to the side of the Greenskins, we have a couple of Stone Trolls, the Swamp Things, and basically a bunch of Savage Orcs. Savage Orcs is smart into Beastmen because they lack the ability to have any sort of magic damage, right? It is very difficult for them to have any type of magic damage. So this basically makes it so that the Beastmen need to fight into 25% physical resist from the war paint from the orc side, which is great stuff. Also, Ruglets, classic unit, classic super good unit with 160 range, insane armor piercing values for their cost, so all around great unit. Also, we see the little Night Goblin War Boss, which has Spider the Bad Moon, Tormentor Sword, and Fermented Fungi, which is just a standard classic. So the side of the Greenskins here from Bees, he is going to also take the fight into his opponent, especially with the Swamp Things, because they have the overwhelming odor, which basically makes it so anywhere that they are fighting, it's going to be a very difficult fight for the Beastmen. And all of his frontline units basically have such good stats and the 25% physical resist and immune to psychology, so they're gonna have a great time when they're actually fighting. He captured basically all three objectives right out of the gate, and he's now going to just contest with the Forest Goblin Spider Riders on this objective, just to delay a bit when it comes to the capture, since Chimba seems to be just doing a classic build-up. And when he does this, it basically signals to the Beastmen that they just look at the opponent's army, they see that they don't have anything super special here, and they just move forward as well. Just at least to capture one objective, so they aren't in such a it's such a disadvantage when it comes to tickets, even if they do a classic build-up, right? And neither side has anything special when it comes to poke, right? These Forest Goblin Spider Rider archers aren't really going to do any damage to stuff like the Butchers, or even like anything else, except for maybe the Slangors who are unarmored. So this is just random poke, which is kind of the usual. I would honestly, even when I'm doing stuff like this, I would honestly conserve the ammo, or specifically just put off fire at will, and then go into shooting at the Slangors, because they have good range, right? 100 range isn't that bad. You could just focus fire the Slangors who don't have anything special. But here comes the engagement. Let's see who gets the charges off perfectly. So, oh, they're gonna actually posture in front of each other. This is kind of bad for Chimba, unless he gives the move order. Yeah, right? Because Rugloods and the Air Boys and the actual Forest Goblin Spider Riders will actually do some damage over time. But there's a charge from the Stone Trolls into the Butchers of Kalkengard, and there's Spite of the Bad Moon. Oh no, Butchers being unsupported in the front line, basically losing half HP from a charge of the Stone Trolls. Damn, that was pretty insane that they took so much damage on the charge. On the other side, it's the same thing, but on the other way around when it comes to the River Trolls and the Minotaurs. And over here, there's a mobility fight between the Sons of Goros and Orc Boy Biggins. And that makes sense that the Sons of Goros actually win, because they have a better charge and they have magic damage, so that makes sense. The Butchers of Kalkengard did stabilize here. They did lose a couple of the models, but they are taking a bunch of damage too. So they might be able to heal it off, but it is a problem. Oh, Spite of the Bad Moon actually going through the front line of the Slangors and actually dealing quite a bit of damage. But this spell is super unreliable. Okay, so if you don't know, whenever you cast the spell, it takes a random 45-degree arc every single second that it actually is up. It looks super cool, but it's so freaking unreliable compared to stuff like Burning Head or Purple Sun that most people just tend to not actually use it, right? Over here, Swamp Things actually go out, and we have a bunch of Orc Boar Boys trying to hit up the Minotaurs. They will probably win that fight, and the Rugloods are actually still operational. We have something sneaky stabbing coming down here to try and win the fight, but this is spears and razor gores into just armored cav. That is not going to be a good engagement for BigBees. And Slangors actually went through the front line here and are now going into the Savage Orc Air Boys. That is not going to be good for the side of our Orc player here. In the end, there have been some more Orc Boy spears coming in to saturate, but Goreherd coming in here will actually just murder those spears. Like they're like nobody's business. Interesting to see what is just the call-ins. The call-ins from the side of the Beastmen just seem to be a bunch of Razor Gore herds, which does make sense, because what are the Orcs going to spam out? They're going to spam out their Bacon Cav, and usually the armored Bacon Cav is a bit better than the other Cav, right? Even though they have Fizz Res, it's just a bit better. And Razor Gores are such good fighters into those things. Like 36 armor piercing value, they just go in and clap. And it seems to me that... Oh, another Spite of the Bad Moon. Let's see what route it actually takes. It's taking a very good, advantageous route. You see how it's like turning just left and right. It's just dealing a bunch of damage, but it does seem to... And it also applies this very nasty curse. It's literally called the Nasty Curse, which is minus 24, minus 30, minus 25% speed. Crazy. If it wasn't so freaking random, I think this would be... If it was like a Burning Head, this spell would be, I feel like, insane. Night Goblin Warboss basically being just ran over by a chariot constantly, though he needs to be a bit careful with the Stone Trolls coming in for that chariot. He might actually go for it and get the caster. The caster is just a Flock of Doom caster, so nothing special there. He just kept spamming Flock of Dooms onto everything. But it seems that the Beastmen now have a rock hard triple cap, have a advantage when it comes to value, and they... I think both sides approximately had the same amount of healing. It's like the Butchers of Kalkengard versus like two Stone Trolls and the Swamp Things. But it seems to me like there isn't going to be much that is going to be able to kill the butchers and the Doom Bull as well. Like Bacon Cab is nice, but you have a bunch of Razor Gores. You still have a bunch of Ungors to support you. And now he seems to be spamming in Centigores or even Corn Gores. Ooh, that's going to be nasty to take care of, especially when you're summoning in Night Goblins Quick Hoppers. These guys are super cool, but they aren't going to do super well into stuff like Cap, right? Into stuff like Corn Gores, pardon me, and into stuff like Cap. So if there's like a Centigore summon or something, these guys can just charge them and probably have a very good time with them. Though it seems to me that on this objective 1, the fight seems to be going the other way. I think we missed a wall or something, because now the Butchers of Kalkengard have gotten their asses handed to them. It seems like by the Savage Orc Error Boys and potentially just another Spite of the Bad Moon. Which makes everything anti-large, right? So the same way that they lost their first 50% of HP, they seem to have lost the rest of it too. Ooh, this might be an actual turnaround. Very nicely played from BigBees here. Though there's still a bunch of Centigores here, and if potentially the Night Goblin War Boss is killed, very nice fermented fungi to save the War Boss. Right, he was being attacked by both the Doom Bull and potentially wanted the Centigores to come in, but he sacrifices his Shaman. Oh my god, what a classic Goblin play. He just sacrifices his Shaman by throwing a mushroom there, and they end up charging the Shaman instead of him. But the Chariot, Bray Shaman of Beasts on the Chariot is still on the Night Goblin War Boss's ass. If he manages to kill him, this can turn it around the other way again. Right? They're still relatively close in value. He still has the Swamp Things and a couple of Cav units. This is a relatively okay death ball, right? But Corn Gores are going to be super difficult to get rid of, because you're relying on just spamming out Boar Boy Biggins, and you still have the Swamp Things, but these guys are crazy good halberd units, right? 49 damage, 49 melee attack when you actually do it. Very good Flock of Doom too, hitting 4 units basically, and it was overcasted too. These guys are gonna break basically, and then it's again the Swamp Things and Stone Trolls unsupported are very easy to pick off, especially with the terrible leadership that they have from like just a Centigore charge. And this was an unfortunate Cav unit sacrifice that just ended up getting killed by a Centigore and a Corn Gore with a Hammer and Anvil tactic. Though, more Gore Herder coming in. On the other side, he used the Forest Goblin Spider Riders to basically capture this objective, which is a smart play. Oh, is he gonna make it? He's not looking. He could have charged these Ungor Spearmen, basically, and broken them with the Forest Goblin Spider Riders. But at this point, yeah, he has taken the actual objective, which is nice. It just gives him more time to work with here. And he actually catching up in value, fully caught up in value. Though he has a big Corn Gore problem in his base right now. If we look at the value here, I mean at the units that are currently on the table, it seems that these guys are dead, basically, especially to the Slongors. Even though the value is super close, I don't see how it is that close. Like, something must not be tracking properly. Probably the Flock of Dooms, honestly, when I'm thinking about it now. Because he should be like at least 1 to 2k ahead. Well, look at the units, man. Like Orbor, there's literally just one Orc Boy Biggin and the Stone Troll alive, and everything else is just Beastmen, right? Slongors, Ungors, and of course this Forest Goblin Spider Rider, Corn Gores, and yeah, Bees actually taps out here, and very well played to Chimbambu, taking a game off one of the current really strong players that actually managed to get on the top 16 leaderboard here. Very well played to both. Let's check out some value. So Doombull actually did pretty well. 1100, he just kept going around and applying his debuff to everything that he hits, and like he was unkillable. Like there was nothing, unless he was stuck in like the Swamp Things or something, he was not gonna die. Shaman actually crazy value, 1600 on him, and potentially not even properly tracking the damage from the Flock of Dooms is great stuff to see. All of the Ungors basically paying for themselves. This is also very nice to see. Slongors doing good. Goreherd also just about paying for themselves. Butchers ended up being compromised by the spite of the bad moon at the start. Man, I think that set them back so hard, and very nicely played from BigBees to actually isolate the Butchers for the second time and finish them off. If it wasn't for that, he would have lost even harder than this. Corngores being a huge menace in the late game. Like, I always do this when I do my armies of more static type of armies. Like, just take a relatively elite halberd in your reinforcements and use it as a late mid or late game summon, right? Because what is the opponent going to be spamming out in his late game? Cav. Like, look at this. You have 3, 6, 7, 8 cav units basically here that he is going to be constantly spamming out, and all these two guys basically counter all of them except for the Morgrub's Mangy Marauders, right? So they're so good. Also, all of the bacon basically paying for themselves, not even going through all of his reserves when it comes to the Centigores is crazy. And yeah, very nice throwing axes. Minotaurs did relatively good. And for the side of Hella Fantastic or BigBees, Night Goblin Warboss is just a support character. He's on foot, nothing too special. Interesting to see the Nasty Curse, but it is so unreliable, man, to go through the proper units. It is so unfortunate too. Savage Orcs actually doing relatively well, just about paying for themselves combined. Ruglud's paying for themselves, but man, you want these guys to like get 1500 value at least. Like, they're such a good unit, probably the best archer in the game, or like one of the best archers cost effectively in the game. Definitely want them to do well. And yeah, unfortunately, Swamp Things also got cracked. Rest of the units did relatively okay. Yeah, Bacon Cab actually did relatively good too. This is, I think, a second summon, which is pretty unfortunate. And you summon these guys later in the game to just take care of stuff that is pretty armored. Very well played to both, and I'll see you guys in game 2. Be sure to like and subscribe.